Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Loretta McNary Show. I sincerely believe this, and my guest echoes this. Every woman deserves a doctor who sees her, who hears her, and who fights for her. Our next guest has devoted her entire life to making that a reality. She is a board certified OBGYN, a passionate advocate for Black maternal health, and the founder of Four Girls Foundation. Please welcome Dr. Donna Pickett to the Loretta McNary Show. We are super excited that she is here. Hi there.
Hi there, Loretta. Thank you for having me this evening.
Yes, I told you I'm already making sure that I know you know that you're invited back. So,
Okay,
so you
great.
chose obstetrics for a very personal reason. Can you just give us a little brief analogy of the story why you chose to go into to become an OBGYN professional?
Well, I'm a daddy's girl. My dad used to make me feel like I fell off a Christmas tree, really did. And very happy-go-lucky man. But when I was 12, he told me the story of how his mother died in childbirth when he was 12. And it was the one time that I ever saw this very happy man actually have tears in his eyes as he was telling me the story. And I remember thinking at that time, man, I wish my grandmother didn't have to die because then she could be here and see what a great man he is now and her grandchildren. So when I was choosing my discipline, I decided to go into obstetrics because I wanted to prevent any other father from having to tell his little girl that same story.
Oh wow. That is truly a beautiful story. Oh, okay. So, the maternal health in the African American Black community, have you seen it change any way possible? I know there's still a huge disparity in care and access. Can you kind of just paint that broad picture of what it looks like today and where it should be if all things were fair and just?
Yes, unfortunately, a couple of things are happening. Well, fortunately, a couple of things are happening. The U.S. maternal mortality rate has been decreasing steadily for the last 2 years, and that's a great thing. But that has not trickled down to African American women. Even with the overall numbers decreasing, we still disproportionately represent three times the number of deaths that occur. And one thing that many people don't talk about is the morbidity. We talk a lot about the mortality of the women who die, but every year, approximately 50,000 African American women almost die, or they leave pregnancy with a lifelong health condition. And that's due to pregnancy and due to suboptimal interventions before pregnancy, during pregnancy, and immediately after.
So you said 50,000 total, or did you say
Total
50,000 a year?
50,000 a year. 50,000 women a year, Black women a year, in their pregnancy with a severe medical condition that will impact them for the rest of their lives.
That's so hard for me to hear. That is so difficult to hear, especially in 2026. But you've done a lot of great work. You really have. You have carried this mantle um, better than or more than anyone that I currently know. And I know a lot of people in that area. You have put together. You also, and so there are like 800 Black OBGYNs in the US. Is that
They're
true?
even more. They're even more. They're even more. Those are just the ones that I've been able to coalesce together in a great collaborative group of women. We call ourselves Mocha OB. And we are OBGYNs, fellowship trained family practice physicians who deliver babies, who are women of color, largely African American. And we are across the globe. One of our members actually lives in Australia. And we collaborate, we coalesce our resources to provide education to members in our community and to provide education to each other. Some of
Mm-hmm.
the best tips that one we ever receive is just from having a conversation with our colleagues and say, hey, I have this difficult case. What is something you would recommend that I do for a patient in this particular situation? It's been very helpful.
Okay. I'm beyond the childbearing years. However, I want everybody, I want to know where you are because I know I have friends all around this world that would love to have someone like you in their life, if not for them who are past that stage, but for people that they know. I want you to just come and live here where we are. I know Georgia would be upset if you left, but I just want you to, that's how much I respect and admire your advocacy. So you also have a training program for doulas. And I've been so fascinated by that because I know that back in the day, as they say, that is the way babies came into the earth, especially for women, well, white women too, because they would call for the black doula to come birth their babies too. So tell me about that training program and what was the inspiration for that?
Well, one of the things that we found with Black maternal health is that it appears to be a communication breakdown,
Mm.
because even Black women who are educated still have an increased risk, 3 times increased risk of dying during childbirth and during pregnancy. And a lot of times it's because of incomplete communication between their clinicians, nurses, staff that support their care. So, with our program, what we try to do is create a bridge between the patient and her care provider, such that the care provider will recognize this patient is capable of understanding what I'm discussing. Because that's the big thing. A lot of times, the clinician just assumes that this woman of color what couldn't possibly understand what I'm talking about. So, if there's no way for her to understand, I'm not going to take the time to explain to her. But what we try to do is provide our doulas with information so that they can help bridge that communication to say, hey, doc, I don't think she quite understands what that test is about. I don't think she quite understood those results. Is there any way that you can communicate that in a way where she understands and feels empowered?
Uh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna steal you. Tell Georgia to hold on tight. We're definitely stealing you. So, can you also just define what the role of a doula and why people are still choosing today? It's like a fast growing career choice. I have a friend in New Orleans, and she went through a program. I've been trying to text to see which one it was because if she didn't go through yours, I want her to know about it so she can tell other doulas. But it's such a sacred calling to me, right? So, can you
Yeah.
kind of just share a little about what a doula is and those responsibilities and accountability for them?
So the doula truly serves as a support person for the patient. They aren't doing any of the actual clinical work, as in doing the delivery, doing in the prenatal care, but serving as a support person. I always say that every pregnant person should have a deputy with them, and that deputy should be there with them during their prenatal visits, during their hospital stay. And so the doula is the one where your family member can just be there in the moment, just supporting you and helping you and being there for you. And your doula is the one who's listening to the caregivers, providing the family with those support measures, helping with positioning. You know, our nurses are overworked. And so you go on most OB labor and delivery units, our labor and delivery nurses usually have 2 to 3 patients each. There's no
Mhm.
way that they can be in the room to help flip a patient from side to side, walk with her as she's trying to labor down a baby, doing those what we call spinning babies moves so we can get that baby in the pelvis. Well, the doula can do those things.
Right. I love it. Another show, a whole nother show on that. So you've been featured in two documentaries on maternal health. So what drove you to give them a yes to film you as a part of the education piece on the documentary?
Yeah. I really wanted to be the change I wanted to see. I really did. I know that typically in medical circles, we're very private. We are so afraid of liability, of someone, taking a little clip of us and then using it for for legal purposes. But for me, I knew that the only way that we could truly address this issue is to put it out in the sun. Let
Mm.
everybody see it. Say her name, say the name of all those faceless women who were dying and nearly dying because no one was hearing their stories. Make it real.
Oh, I like that. You said, my camera wants to act up today. You said make it real, and I'm having some technical problems, but that's okay. We're gonna
That's
make it
okay.
real, and we're gonna say those names.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop anything. So, let me get all my questions because I know I only had a limited amount of time, and I'm clearly over that time
That's
already.
okay.
So, what
That's
do
okay.
women? Okay, this is the big one right here, Dr. Pickett, and it's a little personal too. No, it's a
Mhm.
lot personal. This thing called menopause,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Can we spend some time there? Right? Can we just talk about this crazy memory thing, this having the hot personal summers and
Yeah.
hormonal changes, belly fat, no matter how much I exercise, I mean, how much we exercise and eat right.
Right,
Can
right.
we talk about that?
I so would love to just do such a deep dive into menopause, because I think we need to reframe the narrative. Menopause is a hormonal deficiency state. So just like when you're vitamin D deficient and you feel tired and you're kind of weighed down, you're iron deficient, you get sleepy, you can't really exert yourself. Well, in this case, our hormone levels are deficient. We have decreased with our consumption of our hormones over the years, we have decreased amounts. Well, our bodies were engineered to run off of these hormones. So it's not like all of a sudden we get a new heart, we get a new brain, we get new organs, we get a new stomach, we get new tendons. Each of those things were engineered to utilize estrogen, progesterone, and or testosterone. And when we no longer have that fuel, how are those areas supposed to respond? How are they supposed to function? They're going to function at half, then less than half their capacity. And we overall will be working and functioning at less than half our capacity. So instead of just looking at it as menopause, we need to look at it as a hormone deficient state. And when you're in a deficient state, what do? You replenish it to feel better.
You supplement it, right?
Yeah.
And because does it ever change? Does it go back to being okay, or is that our posture for the rest of our lives that we have to have these supplements or live
Well,
with the results?
okay, so reframing that narrative. This is the final and best chapter, because when
Okay.
we had puberty was lots of ups and downs. That was the first chapter. Then we
Mhm.
had our childbearing years, and our we just talked about how pregnancy and childbirth can be a dangerous endeavor. I mean, it truly can metamorphosize your bodies. But this chapter here, we've done all of that. We
Mhm.
really should be able to say, and now I rest, and now I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor. We just got to get this machine to cooperate with us.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it there because I
Uh-huh.
have so many other questions about cancers or just
Yeah.
for
Oh,
women.
yeah.
Yeah. But I want to talk about your organization for
Mhm.
girls for girls. Can we talk about that? Your inspiration, your motivation, and what is that? What do you provide?
Yes. So four girls, and the four girls are my father's four daughters, Helen, Faye, Gwen, and Donna. Four girls. In that, this organization focuses on providing reproductive health education in an effort to improve reproductive health outcomes. When we know better, we do better. We are more involved. We are more engaged. We are partners in our healthcare. So we address reproductive health education from every aspect of life. We do puberty classes for girls and boys as young as 9, as old as 18. Of course, we have the doula education and prenatal health education, and we do menopause education. We had a great event last year, Music, Mimosas, and Menopause. And so many women walked out of there feeling that they were empowered and ready to enter into this season of their life.
I love that. It's music, what are mimosas and
Music,
menopause?
Mimosas, and Menopause. So we'll be having part
Okay.
2 this summer.
I will be looking for my email invitation to be there. That sounds like my kind of place to be, with women like-minded, empowerment, right? I love that.
Yes.
Okay, so I am going to ask one more question. Oh my goodness,
Mhm.
I'm enjoying this conversation. I truly want you to know that. I've learned
Thank
a
you.
lot as well. So where
Good.
can people find you to get more information, to follow you on social media? And for the people that you actually do serve in Georgia somewhere, how can we find you that are not in Georgia?
So those of you who are not in Georgia, you can find me on social media. I'm Dr. Donna, the Girlfriend's GYN, and that's on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And for those of you who are in Georgia, I'm at www.augustawomenshealth.com.
So, Dr. Donna Adams-Pickett, I want to tell you, you are the epitome of proof that one determined doctor can change the trajectory of women's health for generations to come. Thank you for your courage, your passion, your compassion, and your commitment to every woman in the exam room and beyond. And we're going to find you all over social media. So, thank you for being our guest on the Loretta McNary Show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
All right, so I just want to tell everybody, thank you for staying with us. That is our segment for this show. So think positive, dream big dreams, help someone along the way. And you know the last thing that I've added, beloved, live like you believe.